Welcome to Sliders and Wings, podcast about the TV show Sliders
and the TV show Wings
and all the other forgotten TV shows of the 90s.
I'm Valerie Temple.
And I'm Rachel Cox. Good evening, Val.
Good evening, Rachel.
This is a first because it's a show that I have never heard of. When I saw on the list, my first thought was that you were mistaken because that sounds like a show from the 70s. The name is so 70s.
Yeah, so we're talking about a show called The Five Mrs. Buchanans.
To think we would have been friends regardless.
Alex, get serious. You're my best friend and you're a Jew from New York. I never thought I'd be friends with an honest-God Jew. Yet here you are, and I couldn't love you more if you were my own sister.
Does this mean you'll finally introduce me to your other friends?
Boy, you people are so pushy.
This is the show that I used to use to prove to people that I'm a really serious TV nerd.
Oh, you like TV? Have you heard of The Five Mrs. Buchanans?
Correct.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I would do. And they're like the look of confusion, blank stares. So it gratifies me that even you didn't know about this show.
Clearly, I'm just a dilettante. You're the real deal.
Yeah, that's right.
So you watched it?
I did watch it.
Oh my God. And you were like crying when it was canceled.
No, I really watched everything and I would just sort of cycle around and hit everything. So I don't think I was a dedicated viewer of this show, but I definitely watched at least a few episodes before it just sort of trailed off.
It didn't sound familiar. It didn't look familiar. I mean, I know all the actors that are in it, but I don't know if I knew who they were then. I know who they are now. I mean, it's like a real star-studded show.
It's a show just filled with very familiar faces.
Solid, long-time working TV actors.
Correct. You're just like, I've seen every single person on this show before.
And at least we're going to save a lot of time describing the premise because it's so simple, but also I think wonderful in its simplicity. It's just about four women and their mother-in-law. So they're all the Mrs. Buchanans and she's a bitch.
Right. Yeah.
What if your mother-in-law was a bitch?
It's like relatable. I think I have to say that I enjoy my mother-in-law. But...
No, my mother-in-law before she passed was actually like super nice and welcoming and just the opposite of what pop culture says.
But this stereotype of a mother-in-law, if you say my mother-in-law, it's implied that she sucks.
I think that now all mother-in-laws are so desperate to not seem that way. I'm going to act nice.
I'm going to be very accommodating. The tagline for the show was meet four women who are trying to lose 100 unwanted pounds. Their mother-in-law.
So we watched 2 episodes. We watched the pilot, which doesn't really have a lot to set up. These people are sisters-in-law and there's a mother-in-law. Sorry, there starts with 3 in the pilot. And then I guess the youngest brother brings home this random woman and marries her. And that's what happens in the pilot, going from 4 Mrs. Buchanans to 5. And then we watched the Christmas episode. And let me make sure we're watching the same one. Was it Whose Child Is This?
Yes.
Because I was like, maybe there was more than one Christmas episode.
I doubt it. It was only on for 1 season.
Right, I know. And then there's 5 Christmas episodes.
I could imagine a show like this doing a lot of Christmas episodes.
I know. But those 2 episodes, I know from Googling it that they did have men playing the husbands, but you don't see them at all. You see the youngest one briefly in one scene.
It's very The Women where...
Yes, that's exactly what I thought of. Is that Cooker?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, is this like The Women where there's no men that you only hear about them? But they do come on, I guess, at other points.
When they absolutely have to. Imagine being cast as one of those husbands. What do you get paid? It's like the sitcom version of being on call.
Like an understudy.
Oh, maybe this week I'll get to have a line, you know?
Did you notice name of the new Mrs. Buchanan, her maiden name was?
Brie Larson.
Brie Larson.
I was shook when she said her name. I was like, oh my God.
Now, was Brie Larson not born yet? Did they name her after that character?
That actress, by the way, is Charlotte Ross, I want to say her name is.
She looks like the woman from Meet the Fockers.
He's very much a standard blonde that would be in all of those early 2000 comedies. But she was on NYPD Blue for a little bit. She came in kind of mid-series and ended up marrying Sipowicz.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Pre-internet, pre-streaming services. Okay, this might be the kind of question where I just already know my answer. So if I ask you, it may not be at the top of your head. It's related to the show. What movie or show have you ever caught in the middle of the night in the olden days? Not that changed your life because that's like too dramatic, but that was meaningful. You ever like caught something and you're like, what is this? And then you have to like struggle to find out what it is.
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, Shusha.
Okay, right.
That definitely changed my life. Movies, for sure, catching them in the middle. In the days before the internet, you couldn't really look up what it was.
Mm-hmm. Even now, when you're watching regular TV, you can usually press the info button. It will tell you what it is. So that happened to us recently. And it was, will success spoil Rock Hunter? We've only caught the middle of it, so we still have to watch the whole thing. Anyway, the reason I'm asking the question is that the woman who plays the bitchy mother-in-law, I know her from the movie The Bad Seed.
You better give me those shoes. They're mine. Give them back to me.
I believe you did it. What do you give me if I give you a basket of kisses?
I'll give you a basket of hugs.
Did you have anything, I don't care how small it was, did you have anything to do with the way Claude got drowned?
What makes you ask that, Mother?
Now look me in the eye and tell me the truth, because I must know.
No, Mother, I didn't. Next to Daddy, you lift me up best.
I love that movie. Oh,
That's the movie I caught in the middle of the night when I was 13 or 14. And my friend and I were like, what is this? And it was so weird. It like caught your attention right away based on a stage play that's got that stagey cadence and structure. And I think I'd never seen or related to or enjoyed an old movie before. And like, that's what made me start to be interested in watching old movies.
That movie is incredible.
Oh my
It's
God.
just so histrionic. The kid who plays Rhoda Penmark, oh my God, Rhoda. Baskets of hugs and baskets of kisses.
You're the most wonderful daddy. You're the sweetest daddy. You're the most perfect daddy. And
She's
this woman plays the drunk, bereaved mother of the boy that Rhoda kills. She stumbles in drunk, and it's just like wonderful. She's like Miss Hannigan and Annie.
Rhoda, she kills that little boy because he
wins a medal.
Yeah, he wins a penmanship medal, and she
steals it from him and then drowns him, and like he tries to climb back up on the dock, and she hits him with her shoes until he drowns in the water.
Because she's a sociopath.
Because her grandmother was a serial killer.
And it skips generations.
Yes, serial killerness skips a generation.
Did you know that? Yeah. There's a lot of 1950s pop psychology in it, too.
It's nature versus nurture. It's still an ongoing question, I guess. But
there's a character in it who talks about Freud a lot, and her name is Mrs. Breedlove. Yeah.
The neighbor who just like comes in and talks and talks and talks. Yeah. Anyway, this is not the Big Bad Seed podcast, but the mom from by Mrs. Buchanan's, the mother-in-law, was a very important character actress.
She got nominated for Best Supporting Actress for that role in The Bad Seed. And she also won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress for a movie called Butterflies Are Free.
And she looks like Carol Burnett, very much like Carol Burnett.
I looked her up, and apparently she is from Columbus, Ohio.
Whoa.
Yeah, and all of her papers and things are archived at Ohio State. I gotta go visit that.
The other famous faces in the show were one of the wives is a former stripper from Corpus Christi, Texas, blonde, skinny with big boobs. And she's one of the aunts from Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Yeah, Aunt Zelda.
Beth Broderick. She is actually from the South. Her character is pretty much what you would expect.
Her name's Delilah.
Delilah, over the top. And then the character I really liked was the stodgy, prudish one from Indiana. And she is famous to me for being in my favorite X-Files episode,
Ooh.
Eve.
Oh my God, that is her.
Okay, so Eve is the one all about this genetic program, programming these super intelligent girls, and they're all named Eve. They're like Eve 1, Eve 2, Eve 3. And that woman, she played an evil character, and she's so creepy. And she was one of the original Eves, and then she tries to restart the program, and she was fantastic.
Thank you for figuring that out, because I was like, this lady, I've seen her before. I was looking at her IMDb page. I remember her from Frasier, and I definitely remember her from Addams Family Values. And I guess she was also on Desperate Housewives, which makes sense because this was the first show created by Mark Cherry, who created Desperate Housewives. But before the 5 Mrs. Buchanans, he was a writer on The Golden Girls.
So Greg, of course, popped in to watch some of it. And he was like, is this trying to be the Golden Girls? I said, I thought it was trying to be Designing Women.
A bunch of kooky ladies who are very funny. And Mark Cherry wrote for the Golden Girls, but he got his start working in the industry, working as Dixie Carter's personal assistant.
Well, there you go.
His Wikipedia page is kind of wild because it says that he started as Dixie Carter's personal assistant, but it also says that after winning $15,000 as a contestant on the $100,000 pyramid in 1986, he decided to move to Hollywood and pursue writing work.
Those were the days.
I thought that was going to be the wildest part of his Wikipedia page, but then I got into the Desperate Housewives part, and it says, in 2002, a conversation with his mother inspired him to develop a show about the fractured lives of 4 upper middle-class suburban women. After HBO, Fox, CBS, NBC, Showtime, and Lifetime all passed on the show, Cherry got his big break when his agent was arrested and sent to jail for embezzlement. What? His new agents brought the show to ABC, which decided to pick it up. I was like, wait.
You couldn't connect those dots immediately?
Did he embezzle from Mark Cherry? Like,
what a break.
His big break came when his agent went to jail. Like, what the heck? What are you talking about?
And then the other actress is just very, very familiar. I don't know from any particular role.
So I guess she has just done a lot of theater mostly, but I know her from that weird last season of Designing Women where most of the regular cast members weren't on the show anymore. So it was like her and Jan Hooks came in to replace Delta Burke. Did you like that character though? I mean, she owns a thrift store.
I think you could own a thrift store. I thought you had to be some sort of charity.
I don't know.
Hey, will you give me my merchandise so I can sell it? Please.
I feel like a thrift store is a very unusual setting for a TV show.
I would say I appreciated the whole old-fashioned wholesomeness of the whole show. It was such a throwback.
I really liked it. I thought it was very funny. There were just a lot of jokes, and I enjoyed how many jokes there were.
And I thought all the actresses were killing it as much as they could.
Yeah, I mean,
even though some of the lines were corny.
Some of the lines were corny, definitely, but overall, it was making me laugh. So I gave it a thumbs up. I feel like it's probably the funniest. This is a totally forgotten show. Most often, if a show lasts 17 episodes like this did, it's usually because it was just kind of bad from the start or something, or just sort of mediocre. It does have that Designing Women, Golden Girls, rat-a-tat-tat joke telling. And I thought all of the ladies were pretty likable.
I wanted to know more about them. You knew that the one character had twin boys, twins, X-Files, twins, Eve. Coincidence? Did none of the others have kids?
I don't think so.
That's so weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
For like this Midwestern.
It takes place in Indiana.
No, I love this family where they have an entire Christmas Eve celebration and only 5 of the women are there.
Yeah, I love
no one else even goes.
Not even the husbands.
So one of them is supposed to have twin sons. They don't say what age they are, but they just have her screaming off screen at them. Put that down. Stop doing that right now.
It's very stage play-y in that way. I do enjoy a sitcom that references a character you never see. Like Maris on Frasier. I love it. I think it's so funny.
One of the recurring themes of us doing this podcast is how much older TV shows feel like plays.
It definitely felt like a play, but it moved along. It didn't have much to it.
No, I mean, the Christmas episode was about them accidentally breaking a little figurine that the mother-in-law had made and just trying to make a new one. That was basically the whole plot.
Yeah, they had to go to one of those ceramics
Did you know it was Charles Nelson Riley?
Yes, I did.
Oh, yeah. He was like Ed Wynn for the 80s, a man who talks weird with like a crazy speech impediment. No, I did like it. I thought it was kind of, I don't know. I guess I appreciate the old-fashionedness. I mean, so much TV is just geared towards young single people.
This is not a hip show. There's no flash to this. Is it for families? I don't know.
I don't know. Like, I can't imagine kids would want to watch it. It seems like it's a show for women.
Yeah. I guess there was talk of moving the time slot for this show so that it would follow Murphy Brown. I think that would have worked. I think that's like the audience.
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
And CBS doesn't give 2 shits about the show because every full episode is on YouTube. Enjoy while you can. Accent corner. My comment is that the New York Jew, she's supposed to be a New York Jew and she just sounds like she's from the South. Listen, I am a Jew from New York. Clearly.
It's 4 women, but they're all very different. So there's a New York Jew, there's a conservative Republican, there's a
former stripper, and then like the one that used to work at Disney World. So that man apparently was on vacation at Disney World where he met her.
By himself. That's not a weird thing.
Looking for a bride.
I did really laugh. She's like, yeah, I worked at Disneyland. And they're like, I believe it. I mean, she looks like Alice from Alice in Wonderland.
I actually have a Mad magazine this time.
You do? What is it?
The 5 Mrs. Can't Stand-ems.
Ooh. Would you like to hear mine?
Yes.
The 5 listless Buchanans.
Oh.
Listless instead of Mrs. It kind of works.
Unless we can take the word canon and use something with canon. Poop cannons. The 5 Mrs. Poop Cannons.
Oh, God. That's disrespectful to the memory of this show.
So my 7-year-old in the past 3 days become obsessed with making movies.
Aw.
And I immediately thought of you, but I thought you probably didn't have any resources for someone who can't read.
There is a Lego set that they used to make, but it's no longer in production, but you can get it on eBay. You make a film set and it comes with an app, a movie making app that you can use.
We had something like that, and I wonder if that was it. He has been doing it with Legos with Greg, using the Star Wars Millennium Falcon, and Greg put it into movies and added special effects and stuff. The point of my story is that I said, my mother told us a really funny story the other day, just like a little vignette, like a slice of life, something that had happened to her father. And I said, Oscar, why don't we make a movie with people and I'll act in it with you and we'll come up with the storyline. He's like, no. Well, why don't we do a movie with people? You, me, there's 4 of us. We can make a movie. And he's like, only Legos. I was like, okay.
Wow.
I'm offering to act for you.
I can do it. You're like, Oscar, please give me a chance.
I hope I get it.
Gee, I hope I get it. The crush of rejection from your own son.
I guess we didn't have that much to say about the 5 Mrs. Buchanans, but
I think we did. One last thing, though. What's the most 90s thing? All I could think of was Delilah's slutty outfits.
I was going to say spandex. Everything being spandex.
Very tight. I think that was really it. It seemed sort of like the Golden Girls and Designing Women shows from the 80s. It seemed a little bit dated in that way.
Nothing was too trendy. It was all very out of time. No modern references either, I don't think.
Yeah, not anything. It was a lot of, she's got big boobs. She's a Jew.
She's a prude. Jew, boobs, prude.
Yep, there you go.
And then the 4th one.
And then the 4th one.
And then new. Oh, Jew, boobs, prude, new.
Perfect. All right. What you watching?
So this is embarrassing to say after you said that you started watching it and it was so bad you couldn't watch more than 2 minutes, but I'm like on the 4th episode of 9 Perfect Strangers on Hulu, starring Nicole Kidman's immovable face.
I'm willing to believe that it's better than I gave it credit for. I mean,
well, no, they don't make these anymore, but it's got kind of like the pulpy movie of the week vibe. Very cliche. Each person is hiding something and it's like a Jodi Picoult novel or something. I didn't Google this. I'm assuming the person who wrote it, who's an Australian woman, I think she also wrote Big Little Lies.
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
It's funny because I think I watched maybe part of Big Little Lies and I just thought it was so stupid. It didn't interest me. I don't know. Because maybe I thought it was something that was pulpy that was being treated too seriously, but this show was being given exactly the treatment that it deserved.
I see that.
It also has a lot of actors on it, like, I mean, Bobby Cannavale, Melissa McCarthy, Luke Evans, Michael Sheen.
That's why I wanted to check it out, but I just didn't make it very far.
Nicole Kidman, I don't even know anymore. Her face has been so distracting to me for the past 10 years. And in this case, she's wearing this horrible long blonde wig. The whole show is about her force of personality and how like amazing she's supposed to be, but she just has no expression whatsoever.
And also, isn't she supposed to be Russian?
Yeah, and she's Russian. Masha.
Does she do an accent?
Oh, yes.
Oh, no.
Did you watch The Good Place?
I did, yeah.
Who was one of the main characters? He was the Asian man. I forget his name. He's in it.
Oh, I like him.
More of a serious role, actually. So it was kind of interesting seeing him in something else.
Because he plays an excellent big dumb dummy. He's so stupid on the...
Yeah, and this one he's more serious. He's got kind of like a goatee. And
serious facial hair for a serious part.
So yeah, the show is soapy, but I feel like it'll be quick and I kind of just want to see where it goes. And again, similar to White Lotus, you kind of just like enjoy seeing where they are, the location. That must factor into shows. There must be some sort of number out there where people are more likely to tune into shows where it's just like a beautiful location.
Is that why people watched Lost? I didn't. See, I'm the person who's like, oh, it takes place at a thrift store? I'm in.
I love that show where they just walk around picking up different tchotchkes and saying what they were.
I'm also the person who doesn't care about a view. I had a friend in grad school who she had this very expensive apartment in Boston. It was like on the 15th floor, very high up in this tower. And the rent was so much. And she's like, well, it has a great view. And I was like, who the fuck cares about a view? I don't care about a view. It's not that I hate a view. It's just that I'm not going to pay for it. I get a view when I go outside. I don't need a view in my house.
Oh, we watched one episode of Seaquest, the Atlantis episode from season 2. We just jumped around. We went to something that would be good.
I did want to say one thing that I forgot to bring up last episode was that, did you know that Jonathan Brandis and Ted Raimi both wrote episodes of Seaquest?
No.
I know, that's nice.
And you get to write one, and you get to write one, and you get to write one.
I feel like that takes more skill than, when they let people direct after a couple seasons of being a cast member.
Did you watch the episode of the other two where she says he has to be a writer and an actor?
No.
Okay. I can't tell you. Okay, I won't spoil it for you.
I think I'm behind by 2.
Every time I turn on the TV, it's like, there's another episode of the other 2. I'm like, God.
Oh,
I'm not complaining, but
I love it so much.
It's made me losing all sense of time and place. But the episode of the Atlantis is hilarious. So I didn't realize that, number one, Darwin is gone in the second season.
No. Another thing, Michael Ironside, when he came in on season 3, some interviewer was like, well, are you going to be kind of similar? Is your character kind of similar to Roy Scheider? And he said, I don't talk to Darwin. I don't talk to the dolphin. I don't talk to Darwin. I was like, okay, that's kind of mean.
That's the thing. Like, we watched the one episode and Darwin wasn't in it, but I couldn't really figure out if Darwin was ever in it this season. Maybe he just comes in occasionally.
I think he is, because he is listed in the cast for most of the episodes. Maybe he took a week off.
Do you realize that there's a cast member, her blazers are insane. They're the most 90s thing about this second season of Seaquest. She is a psychologist and she's telepathic.
Oh, that's like Deanna Troi. She's an empath, but she's basically the ship's therapist.
Yeah, but I mean, they just base her like she can read minds.
Cool.
What you watching?
I'm not watching anything. We've watched a couple episodes of Deep Space Nine, which is the same as ever. A warm embrace every time we turn it on. I really haven't had time for anything else. I keep seeing ads for the new season of AP Bio, so I think
they made a 4th one.
Yeah, I think that solves the mystery.
Never finished the second one.
Yeah, you were like, is this show still on the air? Apparently it is. Or is it like Peacock only? I don't know. But I keep seeing ads for it on Facebook. So that kind of counts as what you're watching. I
think that I said the last week that Succession was about to come back, and that was wrong. It's not coming back till October.
Yeah, I saw that too.
But that's better. That's fine.
That
works for my schedule anyway. It's okay.
Yeah. Thanks, HBO. Gotta have a little bit of breather,
Dune is going to come to HBO Max. Yeah.
Ooh, I hear that it is a disappointment.
I mean, it's just weird. Like, why do they keep making this movie?
I don't know. That story is never going to make a good movie. Never.
I read all those fucking books, like all of them. All 6 Dune books, yes. Like the 3 written by Frank Herbert and the 3 written by his son.
Wow.
And I couldn't really tell you what happened in the other parts of the book. So it's 100,000 years in the future. And like people are still named Paul. Okay. And Jessica. Paul and Jessica.
That is
in space. Paul and Jessica in space. There's a movie.
I'd watch that movie, Paul and Jessica in Space. That is the most Rachel observation of all time.
You lost me, Frank Herbert. Back it up.
Frank Herbert is more of a space age sort of name to me than Paul and Jessica.
I highly recommend starting a podcast just to stave off dementia, because it makes you have to think of names of people and places and books. Like, I feel like tired now from having to think of all those names. The name I was trying to think of was Robert Heinlein, Arthur Clarke, like all those guys writing in the 60s that were kind of like the John Cheevers of sci-fi.
It's like doing a crossword puzzle. It keeps your brain nimble.
Oh, yeah. I gotta go upstairs and do a crossword puzzle right now, actually. Anyway, so that was it for the 5 Mrs. Buchanans. Thank you for showing me something I'd never heard of before, Val.
You're welcome. It was my pleasure.
All right, this has been Sliders and Wings. You can email us at slidersandwings@gmail.com.
That's right.
All right, good night, everyone.
Good night.